All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Jersey Village City Council for Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. The time is now 7:01 p.m. Madam Secretary, go ahead and call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, we do.
Great. Thank you very much. Next up, we have invocation and pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Sherry Shepherd.
Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for giving me the honor and the privilege of serving this great community. As we transition to our newly elected officials tonight, I ask that you bless them with your guidance and wisdom as they lead the city through challenging issues and difficult decisions. May they always be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. We ask for your safety and protection over our police and our first responders, and we ask for your blessings over all who live here. We ask all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember. The next item on the agenda is item C1, consider ordinance number 2025-15, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the general election and special election held on May 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing a mayor and 2 city council members, place 2 and place 3, and submitting to the qualified voters of the city a proposition to amend the city charter by amending Article 5, Administrative Organization, Section 5.05, City Secretary, in order to clarify that the city secretary is not obligated to perform duties assigned by the city manager. Okay, council members should have in front of them on the dais an envelope. You may now go ahead and open that envelope. Okay, in the envelope you should have results from the election. For the office of mayor, James Singleton received 7 mail-in votes, 409 early votes, 199 election day votes, for a total of 615 votes. For councilmember place 2, Eric Anow received 0 mail-in votes, 144 early votes, 45 election day votes, for a total of 189 votes. Simon Hughes received 9 mail-in votes, 404 early votes, 226 election day votes, for a total of 639 votes. For councilmember place number 3, Rachel Beasley received 3 mail-in votes, 252 early votes, 148 election day votes, for a total of 403 votes. Michelle Mitchum received 4 mail-in votes, 293 early votes, 119 election day votes, for a total of 416 votes. Proposition A, shall the Jersey Village Charter be amended by amending Article 5, Administrative Organization, Section 5.05, City Secretary, in order to clarify that the City Secretary is not obligated to perform duties assigned by the City Manager. For answers of yes, received 6 mail-in votes, 368 early votes, 157 election day votes, for a total of 531 votes. The response of no received 0 mail-in votes, 154 early votes, 95 election day votes, for a total of 249 votes. The official canvass of the returns of the general and special election held on May 3rd, 2025 reflects that the following persons were duly elected to the respective positions. Mayor James Singleton, Councilmember Place 2 Simon Hughes, Councilmember Place 3 Michelle Mitchum, And Proposition A was approved by a majority of the qualified voters. At this time, I would call upon a member of council to provide a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-15, canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the general and special election held May 3rd, 2025 official.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-15.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all of those in favor? All of those against? Any abstentions? The ordinance passes unanimously. This concludes the canvass of the general and special election held on May 3rd, 2025 for the City of Jersey Village with a total of 835 voters. All right, that brings us to the next item on the agenda, items on the agenda, which will be taken together. Those are issuance of certificate of election to newly elected officials and administration of oath of office to elected and newly appointed officials, newly elected officials. Okay, and next we have recognition and presentation of service award to me and Sherry Shepard.
I think I said most of my comments
during the last meeting. But it has been an honor and a privilege to serve this community. When we moved here 15 years ago, and my neighbors were jokingly telling me that I needed to run for mayor, and I kept saying, I have no idea what public service is about, so no, thank you. And they kept begging and encouraging me, and so I finally did. And it has been a learning experience for sure. I don't think anybody knows what any of us go through until you're up there and actually have to experience it. It is a thankless job. I will be honest and say that. But I think all of us have the city in the middle of our hearts, and we're always trying to do what's best and want to see it continue to flourish and be here for generations to come. So thank you for allowing me to serve.
Well, I've seen a number of these speeches given, but I don't think anything prepares you to actually give the speech. Obviously, first, I think this feels a little bit like the farewell tour has been kind of the gratitude tour, as I think it should be. So I want to first start by thanking the citizens of Jersey Village for trusting me with this responsibility, because that's really what it's about. When you vote for someone, you're voting for someone because you think that they're going to make good decisions, because you don't know what those decisions are going to be that come up. And oftentimes we struggle with that weight of that responsibility. So it is a hefty trust, but it's one that I know that I've taken seriously. I know everyone on this dais and everyone who has sat on that dais takes very seriously. So thank you again for that trust. I also want to thank all of the council members that are up here, and all of the council members who have come before, who have, I describe this as teamwork, and it truly is teamwork. People sometimes say it feels like we just all kind of vote the same way on things. First of all, I would encourage them to watch more council meetings, because that's not always the case. But I also think that what they might miss if they say that as a bad thing is that we really work to try to address everyone's concerns and everyone's questions, to try to get to those answers or those results that hopefully will get everyone's buy-in, and I think that makes for better policy. And so that really has been, I know it's something I've always tried to do, and I know that it's been a tradition on this council. So I'm not going to, I already talk long enough as it is, so as much as I would love to go down one by one and thank each of you individually, I won't, but please, I hope you know that I appreciate every single one of you who have sat up there and sat next to me as we take the slings and arrows and try to hammer out some really, really difficult issues. I know that there's still I don't even want to think about it. Still a bunch of difficult issues that have to be worked out, and I know that we've got great people up there who are they are tasked for that job for sure. But there are two people that I want to recognize specifically who I have served up there with, because coming in as mayor, obviously, you come in as mayor, you've never done it before, even though you've been up there. What you really hope to do is to learn from those who came before you. So I want to recognize Andrew Mitchum, who served as the 18th mayor of Jersey Village. And I was told he wasn't going to be here, but he just walked in a few minutes ago. Justin Ray, the 17th mayor and current trustee for Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District. So thought he had a meeting, but I don't know, maybe, okay. You skipped it? Okay, well, we won't tell anyone you're here, even though it's being recorded live. But thank you both for your mentorship, your friendship, and we definitely, we need to do a all has-beens round of golf sometime, so we can kind of shoot the bull. But anyway, and I do have one more thank you that I have to give, and I know she's probably back there like, no, just move on. My wife, Taryn, who she probably sometimes takes some of the criticisms harder than I do, and of course with social media, it's all out there. But thank you for being a sounding board when I needed one, for being a voice of reason when I especially needed one, and for being the best campaign communication advisor one could ever ask for, which, by the way, that's her day job. She works in marketing and communications, so very handy and very, very much appreciated, honey. Thank you so much. I probably should have done this in a different order, but I apologize. I also want to thank Austin Blease, our city manager. When I started on council in 2017, Austin had been on the job 2 months. 2 months. Well, now it's 8 years and some months, right? It's been a long slog. We've seen, we'll just say, a lot of weird stuff, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of difficult stuff. But thank you for your friendship and your collaboration. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. And I think we're going to take a quick recess so that we can allow the new members of council to take their place on the dais.
We've got a couple more minutes getting set up.
Push. Yeah, you. Hello. You push. Yeah, as long as the green button's on, you can talk.
All right, we're going to get started back in here. I am going to take a major liberty right up front. 7 years ago, we were at home and Beatrix was born, and I came up here for a city council meeting, got sworn in as city council. So happy birthday, Beatrix. Sorry I'm at a city council meeting again. The first move is the item on the agenda is going to be the joint public hearing. The property owner withdrew their consent, therefore the application is effectively withdrawn, and we are going to skip the public hearing. Next up is citizen comments, and first is Eric Canal.
Eric Canal, 15601 Singapore Lane. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and neighbors. I wanted to start by offering a sincere thank you to everyone who supported me during my run for City Council. While I didn't win, the experience only deepened my appreciation for Jersey Village and the incredible people who make it what it is. I remain committed to being involved, engaged, and supportive of the work being done to keep our city moving forward. Speaking of what makes this place special, what a month it's been. Thanks to JVPD and JVFD for hosting their joint open house back on April 26th. Events like this bring neighbors face-to-face with the people who protect and serve us every day. Kimberly and I proudly helped staff a table representing CERT. And a big congratulations to the newest graduates of the CERT program, all 10, who completed their training on May 3rd. As CERT members, it's great seeing our team expand and neighbors step up to engage. A big shout out as well to all the kids who participated in the Youth Duathlon on May 4th. Kimberly and I enjoy setting up along the route with our cowbells, whooping and hollering, encouraging them on. Great job by Parks and Rec helping to organize that event. Yesterday, about 40 local business representatives came together for the new Business and Coffee Meetup. Huge kudos to Maisha Johnson for getting that going. It's great seeing the new JV Convention Center being put to good use where business owners can connect and share ideas. Tomorrow night marks the 10-year anniversary of Dad's Driveways and Drafts Group, one of those uniquely JV traditions where neighbors turn driveways into gathering places enjoying beverages. I'm looking forward to participating for the next 10 years. And there's more ahead. This Friday, dueling pianos at the JV Convention Center promises to be a fun night out, followed closely by Fajita Fest on May 24th, which looks to be a mega event. And who doesn't like fajitas? And then at the end of the month, we'll celebrate the graduating seniors of Jersey Village High School on May 29th, a big moment for them and their families. I also want to remind residents that the deadline to protest your property taxes is tomorrow, May 15th, or 30 days after the date listed on your HCAD notice. If you believe your home has been overvalued, this is your opportunity to challenge it. It's worth taking the time to renew your notice and, if needed, file a protest. Of course, not all city events are flashy. I want to commend City Manager Austin Blees and the city staff for the budget preparation presentation earlier this week. It wasn't glamorous, but it was informative, and it laid out the financial road ahead in clear, thoughtful detail. These kinds of meetings can be tedious and long, but they're a core part of civic life, and I hope more residents take the time to engage in them. That said, I was disappointed in the low turnout from residents for the recent Comprehensive Plan public meeting workshop. This plan sets the tone for the next 10 years of Jersey Village development, and it deserves more voices and more attention. The Comprehensive Plan Committee will be organizing the input and activities from that meeting into an online survey so that the residents can have the opportunity to weigh in. I hope this helps bring us more people to the conversation and keep them involved in shaping our city's future. Finally, with Memorial Day this month, I want to take a moment to honor those who gave their lives in service to our country. It is important that we not only celebrate our freedoms, but also remember the cost at which they come. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak and for the ongoing work being done by council staff and volunteers across Jersey Village. Kimberly and I are proud to call this place our home.
Thank you, Eric. Jeff Kopecki.
Jeff Kopecki, 16125 Delosier. I attended the dive-in pool meeting the other day, last week I guess it was, and there was ideas that were brought up and really don't have a direction of what they want to build or what they want to fundraise on, but being the idea was out there, I brought up an issue where I was at my grandkids' swim meet in the Woodlands, and there was a bronze plaque on the clubhouse where the swimming pool was that said it was a joint venture with Texas Parks and Wildlife. It was a grant that was awarded to build the complex. I don't know if we've ever approached that before the bonds or whatever. Now, I know money's tight now, but I was just wondering, if that's an option someday in the future. And also that when we built Carol Fox Park years ago, when the fundraiser was going on, they had different things. They built the sidewalks and sold plaques to that. And also they had gone to making donations on your water bill. You could go and put whatever amount you wanted on your water bill every month, then all that money went to Carroll Fox Park project. Now I know that wasn't as much money as what this swimming pool is going to be, but it's a start, I think, in the right direction, and I just want to know if y'all can check into that and see if that is legal to do today as it was then. And that's all I have to say. Congratulations on the ones that elected, and thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Jeff. I know in the past we have looked into grants, and it is at this point we're looking at all our available options. Jim Fields.
Mayor and City Council, my name is Jim Fields. I live at 16413 St. Helier. Congratulations, Mayor Singleton and Councilman Hughes. I know you will serve our citizens well. I want to say one thing that I'm happy about. There was a hole, a 4-foot by 5-foot hole at 529-290, and it's been filled in. So I thought there was a risk of somebody falling into it, so I appreciate that's done. Also, I brought up the fact on the ordinances we had some vehicles parking on the lawns, and that's been taken care of, and I thank you for that. I do have this is a request. In this administration prior, truth has been a rare commodity in these sacred halls, and we're counting on you, Mayor Singleton, to restore the dignity and honor to these halls. Also, I'd like to have consent agenda number 4, 2025-30, move to the regular agenda, please. We'd like to know exactly where this, I guess it looks like some sort of pub going next to a church. And now I'm going to go into the budget. I looked into the workshop. They're talking about $30 million in debt. We need to start doing everything possible to save money in our government. There was no mention of that. All it was spending. And the priority, I believe, would serve the citizens better is replace the pool first and remove and remodel the city hall later. And there's I'm sure $1 million or $2 million could be cut from this budget. Just a simple one I was looking through was the administrative department has $14,000 a year for food. That's over $1,000 a month. And each department has their own food budget. I'm just surprised by that. Also, we should consolidate departments and reduce duplication. Put Parks and Recs in one, like streets, building maintenance, solid waste, and public works in one, and reduce the duplication. And one thing I was looking at the budget was really strange was I looked at the parks budget for 2024 and 2025. Their budget was $1.5 million, and their salaries, this is not including the health and all the rest of it, was $718,000. Half, almost, it was 60%, or excuse me, about 45% of the budget was just salaries. That's crazy. And right now, we don't have the money to entertain everybody, and we need to curtail those activities. The Recs budget is $365,000 a year. You know what their salary is? $211,000. That's 60% of the budget goes to salaries. So if we combine those two, maybe we can reduce the head count in the salaries. And we have another group, Economic Community. Their budget's $476,000. Their salary is $303,000 a year. Well, what are we getting for that? So anyway. Also, one other thing I think is, again, we need to think about the citizens here. Another one, the citizens are being charged at city-sponsored events. That's double taxation. For example, when we have for the senior event here for exercises, it's $5. That's ridiculous. You just waive that. They prove they have residence here. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Kevin Sullivan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Kevin Sullivan. I'm a resident here in Jersey Village, but I'm here today to represent the members of the newly formed Jersey Village Professional Firefighters Association. First of all, congratulations to Mayor Singleton, Councilmember Hughes on your elections, and congratulations to Councilmember Mitchum on your re-election. The Jersey Village Professional Firefighters Association, Local 5538, is an affiliate of the International Association of Firefighters, an AFL-CIO organization. For those in the audience and those who may not know, in the last 5 years, the Jersey Village Fire Department has transitioned from a primarily volunteer fire department to a nearly all-career fire department. Local 5538 is proud to represent the career firefighters that staff an engine company and an ambulance daily, as well as members of the Fire Marshal's Office that ensure the city has a robust fire prevention plan. The local would like to thank City Council and City leadership for all of your past support, and we look forward to your continued support with this new council into the future. And lastly, for Mayor Warren, Councilmember Shepard, we'd like to thank you for your support during your tenure, as well as all the hard work you put into the city that makes it a great place to live and work. Thanks again. If anybody wants to get a hold of us, you can find us on Facebook, Jersey Village Professional Firefighters Association, or you can send me an email at president@local5538.org. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. I think we all very much appreciate y'all being here at the meeting and the service you give to the community. Kimberly Hanau.
My name is Kimberly Now, and I live at 15601 Singapore Lane. As my 44th installment, I share an article from the Houston West Side Reporter published on Thursday, February 17th, 1972, titled Clark W. Henry, 71, builder of Jersey Village, dies in hospital. Clark W. Henry, 71, 15600 Yampa, in Jersey Village entered into rest Saturday, February 12th at 11:50 a.m. in Memorial Downtown Hospital following a lengthy illness. He had been in ill health for the past year and became critically ill about 4 weeks ago and was hospitalized until his passing. He was a member of the Fairbanks Baptist Church, a charter member of the Houston Fat Stock Show, where he originated the Dairy Calf Scramble. Mr. Henry was a native of Edinburgh, Illinois, and came to Texas with his parents at the age of 6, where the family settled in Aldine. Henry Road in that community is named for his family. He worked for dairymen in his early years and hauled milk for farmers into town to the milk depots and returned with feed for their cattle. At the age of 18, he decided to become a professional wrestler and journeyed to Chicago, where he became known to all the wrestling greats of that time. The life did not appeal to him, and he returned to Aldine, where he went into the dairy business and eventually owned the largest herd of dairy cows in Harris County, 552 in all, and they were all milked by hand. In 1939, Mr. Henry bought over 800 acres of land in northwest Harris County and eventually increased his acreage to over 1,300 acres. He operated a large herd with Jersey cows, and the ranch became known as the F&M Jersey Ranch. In May 1940, he started the manufacture of ice cream at a plant on Hempstead Highway and developed the idea of milking cows behind large plate glass windows behind the back bar where the ice cream customers could watch the operation from where they sat. He started his own milk bottling plant and introduced the first paper milk cartons in this area of South Texas, something that was looked upon with suspicion and distrust at the time. He operated 8 retail milk routes in Houston, but sold most of his product to large restaurants, hotels, and other large institutional users. He eventually sold the milk-producing business and his F&M Jersey Milk trade name to a nationally known milk bottler and moved to Colorado, where he bought a large ranch in the arid land. It was thought that the speculators had taken in a greenhorn, but Mr. Henry drilled for water and got 3 10-inch wells on his ranch and started irrigating his land. Others bought him out, and the town of Security, Colorado, now stands on that once dry, arid ranch. His wells now furnish water to the town of Colorado Springs. He then returned to his F&M ranch and operated another farm, the Marigold Jersey Farm at Cypress. In 1954, he started the city of Jersey Village on his ranch land and attained his one last ambition, and that was to see beautiful homes in the area. He donated 5 acres of land for the First Baptist Church of Jersey Village, bought the first 100 seats and the first 100 songbooks, then donated building materials for the extra Sunday school rooms. Since his retirement a few years ago, he involved himself in missionary work and held services in the Harris County and City of Houston jails, flop houses, and anywhere he could find someone to listen to the plan of salvation. He developed and was the original owner of the Long Meadows Country Club, the Jersey Village Golf Club, and was a life member of the American Jersey Cattle Club. He is survived by his wife, Mrs. Bessie Henry, of the home address, daughters, Mrs. Ruth Patrick, Mrs. Flora Monick, and Mrs. Loretta Neely, all of Jersey Village. Mrs. Marie Vining, sons Harold and Raymond Henry, sister Mrs. Joanna Buey, brothers Albert Henry, all of Houston, Fred Henry of Normandy, Texas, 12 grandchildren, 7 nieces and nephews. Services were held at 3 p.m. on Monday, February 14th at Waltrip Funeral Chapel with Reverend T.P. Lott, Reverend E.G. Morgan, and Reverend A.M. Stone officiating. Interment is in Rest Haven Cemetery. Pallbearers were Leroy Kennedy, Floyd Black, R.E. James, Sr., C. Don Robinson, T.P. Wall, Jr., Ira Dickey, Rex Carmichael, Gil Youngendoff, and Glenn Collins. Anyways, congratulations, new council. And let's just not forget that Jersey Village is our home and the origins of where it began. It's the most important thing to me, and I've lived here less than 5 years.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Let's just remember.
Thank you, Kimberly. That is the end of citizen comments, and to the city manager's report. If anybody has any questions of the city manager report.
Austin, I know that state legislature is has a number of days left in their session, but if there's an update on any bills that may or have passed that might affect our local control.
There's a few hundred that we would like to go over, if you don't mind. We should have 2 in particular, but there are quite a few that we are tracking, thanks to the help from Texas Municipal League. They help us a lot with that. But 2 that are very important that we're watching closely. They might not be moving right now, but it seems like there is some potential for them to be tacked onto other bills later on, so kind of a last-minute surprise could come up with these. But HB 19 would limit how much debt a city could offer when it comes to general obligation bonds or any bonds. That would limit us to about $30 million if it was to pass today. So that would definitely hinder how we have to face the next 10 years of all those projects, which total over $100 million in projects. Another one is HB 5267. That one limits how much expenditures can grow. Right now they already cap how much our revenues can grow. This one would cap how much expenditures could grow to just inflation, and that would be across all funds, water, sewer, seized funds, golf course, general taxes, all that. So both of those bills would make it extremely hard for Jersey Village to do for a lot of cities, not just Jersey Village, but pretty much every city around the state to move forward in the future, trying to provide the services that the residents need and require.
Thank you.
One other question on HB 19. That never made it out of committee, right?
It hasn't made it out of committee, but it does seem like that one has potential to be tacked onto a different bill that has made it out as an amendment out of conference committee or something like that. So it's, while HB 19 might not be moving, the language itself could be tacked onto something else. So we're carefully monitoring that.
Has the TMC given you any indication as to how that might happen or what bill it might be attached to?
There's several bills out there that kind of follow along those same lines. It's not nobody knows for sure what's going to happen until somebody actually makes that move.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything they'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
I think Jim Fields mentioned consent agenda item G4, if you'd put that on the regular agenda, regarding the granting of the variance.
Okay. Simon, you'd like to remove item 4? No others?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of G4.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? And it passes unanimously. Moving to item G4, consider resolution 2025-30 granting B&C Entertainment doing business as Comedy Sports a variance. And this is Courtney Rutherford.
Thank you, Council. Back on June 17th of 2024, Council received a variance request from Comedy Sports requesting that they be allowed to serve alcohol within 300 feet of a church. The original application was a mixed beverage restaurant permit, which required food and beverage certificate. On April 10th of this year, staff received a request from the applicant stating that the TABC was requesting the city to approve them as a bar. The reason being is they do not have a kitchen and will not be serving food at this property at this time. They plan to add that later. They are within 300 feet of Hope Church at 8301 Jones Road. We have reached out to the church again. They originally gave consent that they were okay with the variance. We reached out to them. They are still okay with the variance and would like the city to move forward with approving the variance to allow them to serve alcohol as a bar within 300 feet of the church.
And I just wanted to say to Jim, I don't know if we've said this on the dais before, but the preacher are in the the churchgoers of Hope. They emailed us personally and they requested that this be approved. I think there was some people in both of those companies, and they courted the Comedy Sports Club to come next to them. So it was they came to us before we even knew it was going to happen.
Looking for a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-30.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Motion passes. Moving back to the regular agenda, item 1, consider resolution 2025-31, reviewing and accepting the 2024 annual comprehensive financial report. Jennifer Brown.
Thank you. I have the distinct pleasure this evening, after being on the job for 3 months, to bring to you the audited financials for fiscal year 2024. We also have a single audit report. We did require that because we had over $750,000 in federal funding that we spent during the year. Stephanie Harris is here representing Crow, who was our auditor for the year, and she is going to go over the highlights of the report for you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Our official report to you can be found on pages 9 and 10 of the independent auditor's report for the financial statements for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. Very pleased to say that we are issuing an unmodified opinion. Again, unmodified being the highest level of assurance we can provide as your independent auditor, that the financial statements are materially correct and that all disclosures required by generally accepted accounting principles were included. With that, page 23 is a statement of activities for the 12 months ended September 30th, 2024. This particular presentation is presented on a long-term basis, or what we refer to as full accrual, the idea being that this particular presentation makes the city comparable to a for-profit type of entity. The city incurred just over $32.7 million in expenses for the 2024 fiscal year to provide all municipal functions, which would include general government, public safety, parks and rec, as well as the provision of water and sewer services, as well as golf course operations. The city collected direct charges for services related to these activities of $8.1 million, the majority of those being collected for the provision of water and sewer services. The city had operating grants and contributions of just over $12,000, capital grants and contributions of $5.1 million. Overall, the city ended the year with a total net expense of $17.6 million. Below that, you'll see general revenues. These would include property and sales tax dollars, and these are dollars that can be used to finance any of your municipal functions. You had just over $21.6 million for the year. You saw an overall positive increase in net position of $3.9 million. With that, page 27 and 28 is an income statement, again, for the 12 months ended September 30th, 2024. This particular presentation is modified accrual, or the same basis by which you review and adopt the general fund budget annually. Total revenues for the year were $28.2 million. Total expenditures, which did include capital outlay as well as principal and interest on long-term debt, were $36.8 million. Overall expenditures exceeded revenues by $8.5 million before other financing sources and uses. The city did issue debt during the 24 fiscal year in the amount of $24.6 million for general government various capital projects. Overall, after some interfund transfers, you had a net increase in fund balance of $18.9 million. You ended the year with just over $42 million in fund balance. Again, as we kind of look to the left, the majority of that was $23.4 million in the capital bond project fund, as well as $7.9 million in the general fund. Overall, the general fund saw a decrease of $6.3 million. If you were to look at the budget to actual schedule in the back, this is less than what council budgeted to decrease fund balance, so you ended up with a positive variance for the year. In addition, your ending fund balance of $7.9 million, again, that number is often looked at by outside parties and other creditors. You generally want to see that council has maintained an ending unassigned fund balance of approximately 25% or 90 days of your annual operating expenditures, and this balance represents approximately 6 months of expenditures for the 24 fiscal year. Very healthy ending fund balance within the general fund. We did also conduct a single audit, again, as a result of the city spending approximately $4.7 million in federal grant expenditures. The two programs that were tested were flood mitigation and disaster assistance. Very pleased to say that we are also issuing an unmodified opinion on the city's compliance with its major federal grant programs. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from council? I have none. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to serve the city of Jersey Village.
Unless there's any discussion, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-31.
I'll second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Motion passes. Next item is to consider resolution 2025-32, elect a mayor pro tem. And I think at this point we'll open nominations for mayor pro tem.
Mr. Mayor, I happily re-nominate council member and current Mayor Pro Tem Michelle Mitchum for another term as Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, nomination for Michelle Mitchum. Thank you. Okay. That's the only nomination that I see on the floor, so motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-32.
I'll second.
Second, electing Michelle Mitchum as Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor? And motion passes. Next is consider Resolution 2025-33, assigning council members to serve as various liaisons for committees. Did find out that this has changed a little since the last time I was here. We kind of went through most senior, and is everybody happy? Does anybody have a slate? The opening is going to be on the golf course committee.
I like what the ones I'm doing. It's been a road of a lot of work on the two that I'm assigned. I'd be happy to continue with them, unless somebody feels really strongly about the Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals or the Board of Adjustment.
I do not feel strongly about that. So as far as I'm concerned, they're both yours. I'm fine with my TERS 2 and 3, unless somebody wants to arm wrestle me over that one.
I am also fine with my Parks and Rec. We've moved the day, so it's a lot easier for me to attend. And, I love my committee.
And I'm fine with the planning and zoning. It's I feel like I've been on it 6 years, so I kind of feel like part of the team there. So,
Simon, how do you feel about golf?
That's perfectly fine. No problem.
Okay. Looking for a motion on the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-33 as discussed, I guess.
Yeah, I think, Courtney, you've got this down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Connie, second.
I'll second.
Simon Hughes. All is in favor. Motion passes. Next on the item on the agenda is consider Resolution 2025-34, authorizing the city manager to enter into agreement with Merriman Holt Powell Architects for full architectural design services for the city campus project and to execute all necessary documents to effectuate this agreement. Austin Blaze.
Mayor, councilors, as part of our ongoing efforts to deliver a modern, functional city campus, we're bringing forward this contract with Merriman Holt Powell to provide full architectural design services for the project. We've been engaged with them in the earlier phases of the projects. They provided conceptual design services and site planning. Their performance to date has been strong, demonstrating an understanding of the city's needs, goals, and budgetary constraints. The attached agreement continues that relationship and formalizes the scope of their full design responsibility for the city campus. So the agreement is based on the AIA B101 2017 standard form, includes all the full professional design services required to take the city campus from concept to completion. This encompasses the traditional phases of the architectural work, the schematic design, design development, construction documents, and construction administration. During the schematic design, they've helped us to refine the conceptual layouts. In the design development phase, those are further detailed to incorporate the structural systems, finishes, and system coordination, preparing the project for the construction document stage. So the construction document stage is where all the detailed drawings come out. Specifications are used by the contractor that was selected to bring out a guaranteed maximum price. So in addition to that role, they'll also be managing a team of specialized sub-consultants to deliver a fully integrated design. Those sub-consultants include civil engineering, structural engineering, MEP, landscape architecture, and audiovisual. So that is here before us. The costs for this are 7.2% of the estimated total construction costs, along with the MEP fees and then all the other supplemental services, the audiovisual, those types of things. So right now, the estimated total cost is $159,825 plus allowances for $11,000. I want to stress that that is estimated, and it's a sliding scale based upon the total construction costs once we know what those are, which would be several months from now. So the resolution is before you, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Austin?
Well, Austin, because I was not on council previously, I know that the city council and you have had discussions with the architect with respect to the city campus idea or concept. This is basically a significant remodel, substantial remodel, demoing 2 buildings, designing that, designing a new lobby area, etc. And while you have provided me with this week some of the information with respect to the inspections that were done during the feasibility period, it seems to me, I'm of the mindset, because of the other constraints that the city is under, that we should not pursue this in terms of the committing with this particular architect right now until a clear plan is made as to which path the city's going to go on as to remodel, rebuild, demo, rebuild, exactly what's going on. So, and my concern is to approve this contract that ties us in. So that's a very long-winded way of asking a question. What's our commitment, obligation, if you sign the contract and then on the day after signing the contract, you say, no, we're going to go a different route?
So if the scope changes or if the project changes, the costs are percentage based, so the cost would go down depending on what the final construction costs were. If we terminate the project, we only have to pay for services rendered to the date of termination. There's no early termination fee or anything like that. So if we sign it and they do a month's worth of work and we say we're done, we pay them for their month's worth of work and we move on.
Noticed that there was also, as compared to the standard contract, the entire arbitration clause was deleted. Was there a reason for that?
I don't know if the city attorney wants to comment on that.
Yeah. As a rule, I delete all standard arbitration clauses. As a rule, I delete all standard arbitration clauses, specifically ones that are in the AIA form documents. Essentially, they will lock you out of a remedy through Texas courts in essentially an over-processed procedural arbitration provision that few people are familiar with. I would always recommend striking those provisions.
And I appreciate that, and that may be your practice, but on the other hand, Texas courts are exceedingly slow in Harris County. My concern is if we pursued the agreement, we got crossways with the vendor, the architect, and we did end up in litigation, your remedy would be very, very time-consuming and costly. That's kind of the reason I think we need to pause this. So that I appreciate you answering my question.
I did get a chance to review the company, the architect company. They've worked with Crime Stoppers headquarters building in Houston, a couple of the local libraries they've built out. Looks like they worked closely with a lot of significant church rebuilds. Ironically, we are rebuilding a church into a city complex, but quite a few churches of expanding more than 2,000 seats. And also did get a chance to look at their accolades and awards, and they've been awarded 6 or 7 awards for their work in improvements in architecture. So I was happy with what I found out about them. Good choice.
No further discussion. Look for a motion.
Before we go on, haven't done my study on architects before. The 7.2%, is that based on your experience? Is that roughly standard?
It is roughly standard. I know we were a little bit higher than that for the clubhouse, just because those costs were lower. So the lower the cost, the higher the percentage. So it's in the ballpark.
Well, I think after we discussed we went one by one in our budget workshop and discussed the idea of each of us had for the city complex, and I think we were all in a majority of moving forward this. So I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-34, authorizing the city manager.
Motion. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second on this. I'd like to make a comment, though. I understand, Simon. I do understand what you're saying, because it does seem like it's this to me. I get that concept, the idea of cart before the horse type thing, but I also feel like if we, as we've stated, we've had this conversation about City Hall since 1984, and by we, I don't mean me, but like as a city, and I do think this is something we're going to need to move forward with. Even though I disagreed with some of the stuff that was on the renderings that when they were presented, and that was public, that when they did that presentation, council received the information at the exact same time as all of the public. And with keeping that in mind, even though I do disagree with some of what that they came up with, I think that what they did come up with was a nice blend of new versus old as far as trying to keep what we could. So I do think, like, as choosing someone to make these decisions, I do think that to come up with these plans, these guys seem reasonable with it. No idea about the arbitrage thing. I'm going to not comment on that because I don't quite understand it. But anyways, I'm going with the second on that.
Before we vote, I was just going to say this is a 60-year project, right? I mean, once it gets rebuilt and if it's properly maintained, which we have every expectation that it will, this will be around for 50, 60, or in the case of our City Hall, add 40 years to it. And so, anyway, from a half century on up. So I think we want something that's lasting and we can be proud of 50 years later.
If I can just kind of respond to that, I'm not advocating that the city not move out of the existing City Hall and not move into the new facility. I'm just advocating that maybe given all of the other expenses that we have coming down the pike in terms of infrastructure, that we ought to tap the brakes on this and really look at what we can realistically do. And my concern is entering into a contract where we're now creating, because we've already contracted with them up to the point of that firm providing the existing plans. My concern is entering into a contract where we continue barreling down the road on the existing plans, and then, if 60 days from now we pivot and say, we can't do this, what's the liability we've incurred by saying, well, let's just sign this contract? So that, for those reasons, I would advocate that we either table this and or just not approve the motion.
So if we don't move forward with this, and how long do you think we should wait before we move forward?
My response to that is if Austin provided the due diligence information that was obtained, or the inspection, etc., including the reports. I've been through those, and I think it's something that within the next 60 days we can really look hard at it in conjunction with looking at the budget and saying, okay, this is the way we need to go. I understand there are advantages, disadvantages by doing phased versus borrowing to do the whole thing versus the escalation cost of increased construction, etc. But I also think we have to be practical about what the city can borrow and spend with all of its existing obligations. So I certainly believe that within 2 months from today, we should be able to come to an agreement one way or another as to exactly how we're going to move forward. Part of that would be, in my opinion, having somebody with some skills in structural, saying we can go in and we can take the existing building A, B, and C, whichever ones they are, and we can do a quick remodel so we can get the people out of the old dilapidated City Hall and get them in. Maybe not the best, it's not going to be all brand spanking new, but it's the way small businesses work where, you take what you get and you make do with it for a little while until you can afford to upgrade it. So I want it to be safe. I know that people are hanging their hat on, well, the environmental inspection says this, but at the same time, we're letting people use those facilities. So, that's a little inconsistent to say the environmental requires drastic remediation and remodel, but we're letting people go up there to sew or youth groups be up there, et cetera. So I think that we can, to more directly answer your question, Connie, I think that we can come to a decision or at least a consensus as to which way the city's going to go. I just don't want the city to incur liability unnecessarily.
Based on this contract, should we say we sign it? I don't necessarily disagree with the idea. I just want to know, if we approve this contract and move forward, does that preclude us from taking a pause? Like, do they start work tomorrow, I guess is my question.
They would get started rather quickly. I mean, not necessarily tomorrow, but I think, on Monday night, we all had a conversation about schematic design, and council all universally said, or majority said, this is the schematic design we want to move forward with. And now there might be some people backtracking from that, which is fine. That's council's right. But right now, I'm working under the information that I've been given and the direction I've been given from council as of Monday night on the schematic design, and so that's the way we would move forward. If council wants to change that direction as a body, they certainly can. But we're looking to you guys to provide us the direction.
Yeah, and to be clear, if you're pointing at me, I wasn't backtracking. I was very clear in that meeting what I thought the city needs to do. And there was a disagreement. We went around the room, and some people said, yeah, let's go with what was put up. And others, myself, said, no, I think we need to look at doing it a different way. Mind you, I haven't been on council, so I haven't been privy to a lot of this information, including all the information that you provided me on Monday afternoon. So I'm just saying, since the makeup of the city council has changed, and we're talking about a significant expenditure, we ought to tap the brakes on this for 60 days. I think that gives sufficient time for us to decide which direction the city's going to go.
And we've tapped the brakes so many times. Our brake pads have been replaced like 8 times. We just don't have. We need to move forward with this, and I think we all not unanimously, we all agreed in a majority that it is time. This came up in 2002, and we were going to build a city hall for $2.8 million. And since that, inflation only accounted for like 90,000 of that. Every year we have had $1 million of increase to this project for code changes, material, labor. It's irresponsible at this point to kick the can down the line further. We had Justin Ray, who sat in this meeting. All the mayors before us all these ones on the wall have tried to get this project going, and it's time. It is time. I'm not going to give the next generation a $50 million problem, and by just doing patchwork, that is what we're going to do. We got donated this beautiful church, and we made do for years. Congratulations to us. We did a great job, but the city needs this. It's time.
Well, I see both sides of the argument, to be honest with you. My thing, I guess what I'm thinking is because I don't want any of us to be uncomfortable with a decision that we're making that's going to affect us in 50 years, right? Or 30, or however long the building is going to last. But my worry is that, let's say we defer and in a couple months revisit, it'll be the same contract, the same agreement, the same everything. Then we would be uncomfortable again with that decision. But that's kind of where I'm at right now with it.
It's never going to, here's the thing, it's never going to be easy, and it's never going to be a simple solution. It's never going to be a simple answer. However, this is for design services. This is for architectural services, including subgroups, subcontractors, engineers, and it's looking like the total assumed pricing on this is $159,000. Is that correct? Am I reading this right?
No, the total estimated construction cost is the 17.288. So the
But
resulting
for
fee for
this.
that, no. So the resulting fee for that would be the 1.24. All the supplemental services are another 159,000. So it's 100.
Okay, I'm looking at supplemental services. I see
Yeah.
it. I'm sorry.
So it's all that, but we do have the termination clause as well.
Correct. I guess for me, I keep coming back to the golf course and the fact that we had the idea for the golf course, and then everybody got panicked over the pricing being different than what was originally coming out or what was originally thought of. And the plan then was to hold off, and we held off, I believe it was 2 years. And I think I'm just assuming. I think it was around 2 years, and then not only had the pricing skyrocket, and we have significantly less at the golf course and paid more, and the golf course has done very, very well. And a lot of the withholding on that was the fear that the golf course was not going to do well. The golf course is fantastic. So to me, I think it's time to move forward.
All right, I think, Courtney, we have Michelle made a motion, Jennifer made a second. We're going to take that vote. All those in favor? And the aye, nay. All those against, that's the right saying. All those against. All right, motion passes. Moving on to item 5. Consider ordinance number 2025-17, amending the capital replacement fund budget for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025. Robert Bassford.
Good evening, Mayor Singleton, Council. Staff is requesting a budget amendment of $45,000 to purchase 3 mowers for this current fiscal year, replacing existing equipment that was originally slated for future replacement. These new mowers are significantly less expensive than the models we currently own, and sufficient funds that were slated for our assets are already in Fund 7 for purchase. The existing units will be sold, and the new mowers will be added to our vehicle and equipment replacement plan. These new models feature a 60-inch deck and run on regular gasoline, which is a shift away from our current 72-inch diesel models. This change will increase operational efficiency, help reduce long-term fuel and maintenance costs for the department, as well as a cheaper future replacement, the cost mentioned earlier. This will lower the Fund 7 contribution from the general fund from $14,500 down to $11,940, resulting in an annual budget reduction of $2,560. And right now, the current estimated resale of these mowers sit at roughly $25,000.
Thank you. Any questions?
Robert, when were the existing mowers ready to depart and or come out of existence or out of the rotation? And is there an underlying reason why, other than just we're getting a good deal and can sell them at top of market?
Yeah, essentially. So the 2 of the mowers were set to be replaced in fiscal year 27 and 1 fiscal year 29. The previous regime, we went through a 72-inch diesel model. It's the deck width of the mowing. It's just proven to be inefficient. We're trying to reduce the deck size down to 60. We can use them in more applications. And then as well as the operation from diesel to regular gasoline, we're getting bogged down on the diesel. So just kind of some operational deficiencies that we've identified. And we annually put money away to replace our assets, and we currently have the balance in there to purchase 3 mowers right now. So essentially we're just requesting to speed up that replacement and result in a net savings each year.
So there will be a total of 3 mowers that will be sold, and then when you collect the funds or the revenue from that, where does that money go?
So 3 mowers will be going out, 3 mowers will be coming in, and the resale of the equipment goes into Fund 7, slated for Department 39.
So it goes back into the fund, the capital replacement fund? Okay.
And does the city have a buyer, or what's the time frame in selling those?
So we essentially will go through state contract through John Deere, and they have a trade-in value for certain models, and that was what they gave us. We could also auction them off for a higher amount, but that's unpredictable. So that's just what we were told from the buyer.
And I know this is slightly off topic, but still about mowing. I know we've heard a lot of positive things about the automated mowers and the robotics. Are those when you're talking about a 60-inch deck versus a robotic mower, I think you're talking about different areas of the city that get mowed, so that apples and oranges.
Yep, absolutely, apples and oranges. Those are doing well. We're having some it's European technology, so we're having some update issues, but they've been doing fine. And those are just razor blades, and they mow like our plants, our non-public facing areas, and it's more routine, kind of similar to that of a Roomba, but a mower.
When it comes to Euro, use yards, not metric, and it might.
Robert, you said that John Deere's offered you a price for the old mowers, and you were unknown about auction. Can't you list those on auction with a reserve? And that way, if the auction goes up, great, we made more money for them.
Yeah, we can list them at that reserve that we were offered, and then list them for that, absolutely.
Just last question, at least for me. What's the anticipated life of the new mowers?
So typically, we believe we can get 5 years out of these mowers, and then we contribute roughly $3,900 per mower each year to Fund 7. For the mowers that we currently existing, we contribute more. So that was that annual reduction to $2,500.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-17.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes. Moving on, item 6 and 7 will be skipping since the hearing did not occur and the P&Z committee did not meet. Moving to item 8, consider resolution 2025-36 authorizing the issuance of the remaining voter-approved general obligation bonds in the amount of $6,155,000 for water and sewer projects and $2 million for street improvements, and authorizing the city manager to take all necessary actions to effectuate the issuance. Austin, please.
Mayor and councilors, as part of our long-range planning, we're proposing the issuance of the remaining authorized debt, but unissued from 2023. That includes $6,155,000 in utility fund bonds and $2 million in street road bonds. Originally, utility bonds were contemplated for the potential expansion into the city ETJ. However, with that mixed-use development no longer proceeding, expansion of the ETJ is not currently financially feasible. We still have a lot of infrastructure needs within our city limits, particularly in the water and wastewater systems. So the proposed use of these would support capital improvement projects as identified in the CIP. The remaining $2 million from the street road bridge bonds were originally earmarked for a vehicle bridge over the bayou. That bridge was reduced to a pedestrian bridge. So we have the $2 million remaining for there. These funds could instead be used to fund the next group of prioritized street reconstructions, which is Crawford, Capri, and Tahoe. Those streets were selected based on their age and condition, and it would finish out the Wall Street neighborhood area project. So if the council approves, the bond issuance will be sold proceeds received in August of 2025. We talked briefly earlier about House Bill 19 and how that could impact us. If that bill becomes law, and if we don't issue this debt until after September 1st, and we only can issue $30 million in debt, this amount would count towards that. We've got $113 million to go. Regardless of the outcome of HB 19, though, the projects proposed for the funding are necessary and included in the CIP. So it's possible the legislation underscores the possible impact of the legislation underscores the importance of securing the funds now while the opportunity remains. We do have John Roebuck here. He's our financial advisor. He knows all things bonds. Some of you might remember him from a few years ago, and I'm sure he's happy to answer any questions. I know he has an updated handout for you as well, kind of going over some things. So, Mayor, if you don't mind, I'd like to turn it over to John.
Thank you, Austin. Mayor and council members, John Roebuck, BOK Financial Securities. I've had the pleasure of representing the city for many years, and the City Hall project's been up many times over those years. The presentation I have in front of you kind of goes through a brief overview of the bond market on page 1. This is the Bond Buyer Index. It's a weekly index of average rates across the country. The red line represents revenue bond issues, and the blue line represents general obligation or tax-backed bond issues. You'll notice in the last couple of weeks, the rates have skyrocketed. This is because of the tariff talks and the tariffs across the world and the potential impact on the economy. We've seen that rate come down. It's actually come down about 10 basis points off its high of 5.24 last week. It's now at a 5.14. We are estimating it's going to come down a little bit more as time goes on, as more of the tariffs get hammered out, and also with the tension in the Russia and Ukraine, and also with the Israel and oh my gosh, I just went blank, sorry. Global tension, Hamas, thank you. Global tensions, as those are, peace deals are worked out there, but we are seeing bonds being issued, and again, with the stuff going on in Austin right now, it is a good time to issue bonds, to get these bonds under that cap if House Bill 19 passes, or if it passes in some different form. What Mr. Blease did not mention in House Bill 19, it also does away with basically issuing COs altogether. So if you have an emergency, you won't be able to issue COs, do those emergency projects. A hurricane comes through, or a windstorm comes through, you'll have a hard time being able to issue debt going forward because of that. But also with a 20% cap in House Bill 19, you will be limited to the amount of debt you can issue, including refunding bonds for savings. Those will count against the cap also. If you go to the next page, page 2, this is the estimated debt service requirements of the general obligation bonds Mr. Blease mentioned. We are going to generate proceeds of $8,155,000, $6,155,000 for water and sewer projects, and then $2 million for streets and roads and bridge projects. We layered this into the existing debt, and then again, the water and sewer we are going to say is self-supporting, so we're going to pay a portion of this debt with water and sewer funds. So your net resulting debt service requirements is there on the far right. And we're looking at about $1.2 million, almost $1.25 million on average annual debt service requirements, except for 26 and 27. As your debt rolls off, we're laying this in, and we're trying to minimize that cost. And so as we get closer to pricing, we will structure this debt to minimize the debt service requirements in 2026 and 2027, so the tax rate impact will not be affected as much. And then the next page I'll hold off on unless you want to go through items 9 and 10 on the agenda. Let me go through the debt real quick. Okay. And then on the next page, this is the Certificates of Obligation, Series 2025A. This is for the municipal complex, the City Hall complex. We have in there $24 million layered into this Certificates of Obligation. This is a not-to-exceed amount. I think we will, as we get closer to the bond sale, we'll have an amount, but we are asking you to approve a notice of intent for amount not to exceed, so we cannot sell more than $24 million in bonds for the project. And again, we'll layer this in and also try to minimize interest costs, debt service costs in 2026 and 2027 to level out your debt service requirements and keep the tax rate relatively stable going forward. And then on the next page, we have the Certificates of Obligation Series 2025B, and this is for $20 million. I believe the estimated CIP for the water and sewer projects is $18 million, but we're going to ask for not to exceed for 20 just in case those costs go up also before we sell the bonds. And then again, these bonds will be self-supporting debt paid from water and sewer revenues, not from the general obligation ad valorem tax. And then to do all this, we have a tentative schedule of events on the last page. We're here to ask you to approve the ordinance and the resolution authorizing the sale of general obligation bonds, and also the publication of the notice of intent to issue the certificates of obligation, which will be published 2 consecutive weeks, 45 days before the sale. And then we'll sell the bonds based on the schedule on July 21st and come to you and ask for your approval of the bond sales of that day. And then about 30 days later, close on August 21st, at which point you'll receive your funds. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have on the financial aspects of the financing plan or any other matters related to the documents we're asking you to approve tonight.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I just have a question for you. In discussing like the rates, yes. Right? So in a discussion today I had with someone that works in this industry made a comment to me that he believes there's a very strong probability that we could head back down to like a 4.85, 4.75, and most likely within the next 40 days. Do you have any idea, any thoughts on that or any opinions?
I would.
Granted, I know you have to, it's a very volatile market and God only knows what we wake up to tomorrow.
Right.
But like the idea.
Yes, I do think rates are going to come down. I do. I mean, I see them coming down. They have to. Right now, even the Fed mentioned that they're not going to lower the Fed funds rate this time, but again, their pressure is there to lower rates. I mean, the labor market's going to be stressed, and so I think you'll see rates come down. If we sell these bonds today, we'd sell probably less than 4.75%, probably closer to 4.65. I'm hopeful we get closer to 4.5 by the time we sell these bonds. Now, if we get down to this and, of course, the rates go up higher, obviously I'll talk with staff in Austin, make sure that y'all still want to go forward. If you don't, we'll pull it and come back to you and ask for another notice. Do this again.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to make right. You said that as you go through the process, post it and advertise it and give notice, etc., depending on what the interest rate does as you get closer to it, if the interest rate went the wrong way, you could back out of the deal.
We could pull it. Yeah, we're not asking you to approve the bonds right now. We'll come back to you with the results after we sell the bonds and have your approval, at which point those rates will be locked in. If we get to sale date, and in this case, with July 21st, I believe, to July 21st, if the rates have gone up 100 basis points to 6%, it doesn't make sense to sell the bonds. We'll come to you and say we're not going to sell the bonds. We'll pull the deal.
And without getting too specific, just what's the cost of going through the process?
At this point, it's just the rating process. And again, we'll probably know at that point if rates are going to go up before we do the rating calls, and also just the cost of publishing the notices.
What I was asking is, there's an expense just to go through the process to. If you pull the trigger, or if you don't pull the trigger at the end, you've still incurred the fee, right?
Yeah, so I'm not sure what the cost of the notice is.
So basically, we would be out the cost of the public notice that we put in the paper. John gets paid when we sell bonds.
Yeah.
If we don't sell bonds, he doesn't get paid. Basically, is how that works in the municipal bond market. So both the attorneys and the financial advisors, their compensation is tied to the actual deal itself, and so it's really just staff time. And I will be working with John over the next few weeks in putting that preliminary official statement together. This is just the very beginning of the process. It doesn't obligate us to anything. And obviously, if the market turns against us, we would recommend, moving a different direction.
So it's primarily just man hours, not out of pocket?
It's my time.
Okay. And Austin, I had a question about the fund, the amounts based on the conversation we had at the budget meeting. For example, the $6 million, the first two amounts, the 6.1 and the 2 million, 6.1 water sewer, is that being paid? Will that be paid out in this next fiscal year? When would those funds be used?
Those funds would start to be drawn down next fiscal year for sure. I can't tell you when they would all be. Now it just kind of depends on the project length and that type of thing. We aren't going to have the final project scope until. The final report until July. Then we've got to go through whatever engineering or whatever to get bids and those types of things. But I would expect that the majority of that money would be spent within the next 12 to 24, certainly 36 months.
And so in your 5-year forecast, year 2 through year 6, for sewer treatment, collection improvements, water production, distribution improvements, you had an approximate expense of $16 million. Does any of that $8 million go towards that, or I'm sorry, any of the $6 million go towards that 16?
No, because there's also the sewer line projects, the water sewer projects that are in the CIP, which are kind of these projects here, does not include the sewer line projects, which we should get the final report back from those engineers in July.
And the sewer line project, that's about $6 million, I believe you estimated?
Yeah, they're estimating just under 6.2 at this point.
So, on top of the 16, because at the budget meeting you said 16, and then you said, well, maybe make it 18, but now 18's 20 under Series 2025B?
That is just the not to exceed amount. So John, if you want to explain that a little bit more.
Sure. So that number gets fine-tuned as we get close to the bond sale. So we're asking a not to exceed. So we cannot sell more than that $20 million based on the notes we're putting in the paper for the taxpayers to see. As we fine-tune those expenses and the numbers become clear, we work with staff to determine what number we're going to sell, what bond amount we're going to sell for proceeds. Now, if we get an environment where we are selling bonds for a discount, and I'm not going to get into all the details, but basically we have to issue more bonds than the proceeds we're going to generate, which we haven't had to do in many, many years. We have that cushion just in case we have to do that. We've been selling bonds on a premium basis, meaning investors are paying more than par amount for the bonds, which means we're generating more proceeds and selling less bonds. And so we're asking you not to exceed $20 million in bond, basically bond amount, not proceeds, but bond amount, par amount.
This just gives us an allowance to cover the issuance costs, because the amounts we talked about Monday night were project costs. And so depending on the market at the time we sell the bonds, we might need to issue slightly more to cover the issuance costs. As John said, if we're selling at a premium, then we won't have to. But I learned my lesson once in not publishing enough to cover the costs and having to end up coming back and cut projects or having to republish a notice, and we don't want to put ourselves in that situation.
And I think final thing on that kind of general area is that in the 5-year plan out, that 16 million, whether it's 16, 18, or 20, does not include any amounts for streets and roads, correct?
Correct, yeah. That does not include anything for streets and roads. We have the streets and road bond. If we do the $2 million here tonight, we would be good through roughly 2027. In 2027, we'll have the conversation again about debt at that point in time for more roads.
I'm sorry, you said that we would only be good through 2027?
The $2 million that we have here tonight, along with the other debt that we've already issued, we should finish all those projects by 2027. At that point, we'll come to council to talk about potential debt for future street projects.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if you're ready to make a motion, that's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-36.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes. Moving on to item 9. Consider Resolution 2025-37, authorizing the publication of notice of intention to issue City of Jersey Village, Texas Certificates of Obligation Series 2025A for the design, acquisition, construction, and improvement of certain public works, and authorizing certain other matters relating to Austin, please.
Mayor and councilors, this one here right now is for the city campus project. Right now, that remains one of the most pressing capital needs. Despite nearly 4 decades of discussion, we've not yet constructed a modern city hall facility. So the schematic design we have right now has an estimated cost of $7.28 million from Brookstone. With the soft costs at 15% and contingency of 10%, the total project cost is $21.6. Brookstone has told us that over the last 5 years, they've seen inflation increases of 0.5% every month. And so that means by the time we actually get a guaranteed maximum price, that price is going to go up at least 4%. So here tonight is the resolution for the publication of notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation in an amount not to exceed $24 million to do this project. John's explained the process a bit, but we're happy to answer any questions council has.
This is to publish. So this will be before us again to agree to the issue. Is there another
July
step
21st is the next time this would come back to council for a yes or no vote.
Okay.
And to me, I think it's not like, let's publish it and we can have our yes or no vote later, but I think we need to publish it so we can actually have that conversation.
100% agree.
Can I say something real quick? When I come back to the 21st, we're going to have investors who have bought these bonds ready for us to say yes. So, I mean, if this project's not going to go forward, we probably need to determine that now before we sell the bonds. Because if we sell the bonds and the 21st come to you guys and they say no, then investors are going to be on the hook for, they're investing the money with you guys in that day or committed to investing to you. If you say no, it's not going to look real good and next time you sell bonds. Just to give you a heads up there. I mean, so. Yeah, so I'm sorry. So when I come back on the 21st, I mean, and again, if you all want to have the conversation in the next council meeting before we sell the bonds, that's great. And you say, no, we're going to scrap this, we can pull it. But on the 21st, I'm going to come back to you with an offer from investors. And usually it's going to be more than 100 investors are going to buy your bonds on that day. And so if you come back and say, no, we're not going to do that project, they're going to be disappointed because they've read all your documents, they've done their diligence, they've put their money up. And if you all say no, then next time you enter the market, you may get penalized a little bit. So.
What day is that deadline?
Well, about a week before the 21st, so called the 14th.
He's saying we need to make, like, this, whatever we say here tonight is kind of like we need to make our decision. If we're not moving forward with this, then we don't need to approve this. So that's what he's trying to get across.
Yes. For those that aren't aware, we had a 4-hour budget meeting on Monday night and discussed a lot of this.
Repeatedly.
Tonight is the night that we have to make this decision. If we crawl back at a future date, it will hurt our ability to get bonds in the future, or it will increase our interest rates.
With respect to the description of the proceeds of the bond, what it's going to be used for, because your memo says city campus project, but if the decision was made to go out for the bond and for whatever reason the city campus project changed, what other projects, if any, could that bond proceeds be used for?
So page 385 of your packet, construction, acquisition, improvement, remodeling, demolition, and rehabilitation of buildings and related infrastructure at the new Jersey Village Civic Center complex located at 16518 Jersey Drive for the purpose of an administrative office, multi-purpose city council, municipal courts facility, emergency dispatch center, and office facility for the city's emergency services department, parks and recreation, and office and storage facility for the city's utility department and parks and recreation department, municipal parking facility, multi-purpose outdoor pavilion, and costs of professional services incurred in connection therewith. That's what the money could be used for.
Well, I guess the one thing that I would say is that if this is bound for only being used for the city campus, and if the decision was made later, well, we're not going to take all of it, etc. I'm concerned about what that says to residents who are looking to city council to, as a priority, replace the pool.
I got to be honest, if it comes down to it, and we have to make if you're making a list of needs versus wants, as much as I want a pool, we need a campus. I'm a city campus. I don't love that name. Anyways, City Hall, we need a City Hall. I think that's a need because it's not just City Hall and it's not just city employees. It encompasses citizen areas and things for us to use. And I hate to put the pool in the want category, but a pool is a want.
Yeah, I agree. The City Hall is permitting, it's inspections, it's finance, it's HR, it's emergency coordination. It is more of the nucleus of our city. And it's just as important as police and fire. And it needs to be viewed as just another big piece of this puzzle, not an add-on. And I'm not sure why it's viewed that way, but it is just as important as the ins and outs as police and fire for how the city's run. Your kids are safe, your buildings are safe. Like, this is the nucleus of our city. And all of the departments, police, fire, they are all also in support of this.
I just feel like we talked about this. This conversation has been going on for years. Pre any of us, anybody up here, anybody I think even worked here, this conversation's been going on. So, I mean, we need to do something, guys. We got to do something. It's just going to keep going back and forth, and it's never going to be right, and everybody's never going to all be happy. And I just think this is, however it ends up, however the project ends up, I think it's time to pull the trigger.
Just to be clear, if the bond were approved for whatever amount is determined, you're not bound just to do the existing city campus as envisioned. If there were a pivot and you said, no, we're going to remodel this, we're going to do that, whatever, bond proceeds could be used for that, correct?
The bond proceeds can be used for everything over on that site. It can't be used for anything here.
I was just going to say, back in the day, I would have loved to have paid cash. Obviously, that's not possible given lots of reasons. And the longer we wait, the more expensive this gets.
And at any point in time, you're happy to sit with my husband and attend his lecture on why borrowing and bonding is a much smarter choice and the better choice for cities. And let me know. I'll sign you up for that lecture I got to listen to.
Is there a free dinner with it?
I'd actually be interested. I might take you up on that.
One of the things, everybody's making very good points. I see the city campus as a capital improvement. How hard is this to bring as a recommendation to council? Something like this.
I mean, this is generational work right here. I mean, and that's what we're all here for. We're not here for the next election cycle or even my term as a city manager. I'm hopeful that the city manager that comes after me can enjoy this facility for 20 years while he's here or she's here. It's not about me. It's not about anybody in this room. It's about our kids that I think we all want to have a great place for them to live here, to buy homes, to stay here. And it's that type of community drive that makes it for you. You gotta get past what all these big numbers are, because these are big numbers, and that makes it tough. But it's generational work that we're doing.
Austin's packet for Monday has a quote: "The discussion about the need for new city hall building dates back to the mid-1980s." We talked about it on Monday night. It started before I was born.
It was 1984, just to be clear.
Yeah, I was 2.
Looking for a motion.
I will happily make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-37.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? And motion passes. And moving on to item 10. Consider Resolution 2025-38 to authorize in publication of notice of intention to issue City of Jersey Village, Texas Certificates of Obligation Series 2025B for the design and acquisition and construction and improvement of certain public works and authorizing certain other matters relating thereto. Austin Blease.
Mayor and councilors, this one is for the water and sewer projects. We've kind of talked about it a little bit. We talked about it extensively on Monday night. But these are for about the next 5 to 6 years worth of capital improvement projects that have been on the CIP list since 2024. So we've got a lot. One of the basic services that we need to do is provide safe drinking water and clean wastewater treatments, and that's what this would help us provide.
Any comments?
Just to be clear and bring everyone in to these are the projects over the next 5, 6, if not 7 years that we discussed on Monday that have already been earmarked as part of the CIP plan that we discussed last July. We probably discussed the July before then, and every year that passes, our 50-year-old sewer pipes aren't getting any better.
Is this the time when you want to bring up the Water My Yard app?
Watermyyard.org.
This is all based off the capital improvements plan that is also reviewed by a citizen board. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-38.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Motion passes. That concludes the agenda, and we will start with mayor and councilor comments. We started that on Monday, so Michelle.
Well, I would like to say hopefully the splash pad is operational by this weekend. Good to go. I know my girls and many of the youngins in the neighborhood are real jazzed about that. I want to say congratulations to Austin for about to have some well-deserved time off on a sabbatical. He gets to have a nice little sabbatical every couple years, and his fearless second over there, Robert, will be taking over him, and I know that we are in great hands. Happy Memorial Day coming up, and also the Carol Fox Park. I know everybody's kind of seen all of the new structures. Really, really excited. That should be finished before our next council meeting at the beginning of June, if not right at then. And then also, y'all, school is over, so you're about to see a lot more bikes, skateboards, and hooligans, mainly probably my children, on the street. I cannot believe it's already summer. This has been one of the fastest years of my life. So I'm ready for some sunshine and some good stuff. Thank you.
Simon? True.
Well, First, I want to welcome Simon and James to the dais. Dais?
Yeah.
You got my head
Say it right,
swimming
man.
now. Anyway, I look forward to working with both of you over the next year. And on top of that, happy birthday to your daughter, Beatrix. And I want to thank 2 announcements for the crowd. Thank you all for attending in lieu of watching the riveting reveal of the Texans' schedule. I know that we lost probably a few people to that. And just seriously, poker night has been announced, or casino night, at the convention center in the first part of June. So excited to possibly attend that. And I know that Dueling Pianos is this week. So I thank the Parks and Rec department and the city for finding some really awesome events for the citizens and the local community.
Connie?
Well, congratulations, Mayor Singleton, Mayor Pro Tem Mitchum, and Councilman Hughes. Not Congress yet, I guess. And I wanted to again thank Mayor Warren and Councilwoman Shepherd for their service. Thank you, JV, PD, and Fire Department for all your hard work, and dedication. Happy birthday to Beatrix. Happy Memorial Day, and the pool discussion is not over. It is not over.
Jennifer?
That was aggressive.
I can't help it.
I just wanted to say, first things first, congratulations to all the seniors graduating Jersey Village High School and any of the other surrounding schools. That's coming up pretty quick. Same thing about Memorial Day. Hope everybody has a happy Memorial Day. And I wanted to point out real quick, on Sunday, my husband and I Saturday, we're sitting outside in the front yard, and we're noticing people nonstop running the stop sign at Lakeview and Philippine, which I guess I just told you where I live. And so as my husband had an idea of throwing things at cars, I instead suggested perhaps we go to the Jersey Village Police Department website and submit a request for extra service or for extra patrol, to which I did. It took me approximately 2 minutes, and that's because I forgot my own password. And I filled it out, I suggested it, and I will let you know that happened on Sunday, and I have already now 2 different times seen people pulled over on that area for running that stop sign. And so, and they've done a good job. They've had an unmarked police vehicle there, and they've had a marked police vehicle. So for anyone that thinks that stuff doesn't work and you can't go through proper channels to get things done, I encourage you to give it a try. Anyways, also thanks. You saved my husband from going to jail for throwing things at cars. So.
Well, I will echo many of the things said here tonight. Greatly appreciate Bobby and Sherry for their service. I will miss not serving up here with them. I'm definitely looking forward to the next year or 2 years with everybody up here. There were some items on the agenda that I was kind of loath to have, and I have opinions about COs, but I think we are doing the right thing in the position that we are. And I look forward to Jersey Village 20, 30 years ago from now when none of us are up here. I'm sure that hopefully my kids are moving back in, just like some of y'all's kids have moved back. The pool discussion is not done. We are talking quite a bit, and we'll have something soon, I hope. That it? Meeting's adjourned.